we're joined now by the Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Honorable Philip Agbese, who's also the spokesperson for the Committee on Constitution Review. Good evening, Honorable, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
As part of the people that received this proposal, can you tell us, or walk us through, the rationale behind this proposal that was brought? What sort of gaps or challenges was this seeking to address?
Well, first and foremost, the issue of constitutional review has been a burning issue since the creation of this country, particularly after the 1999 democratic experience came to stay, and we have all adopted and embraced democracy as the way to go. And Nigerians have been agitating, some for selfish reasons, some for good reasons to better the country, some for the purpose of equity, transparency, and justice. And because democracy is an evolving trajectory, we've continued to accommodate these issues to, in order for all of us to live together as a people. And because of that, we always, from time to time, give room, for these agitations, opinions, and all of that, for us to continue to strengthen the bond that binds us together as a nation. So in the 10th House, in the 10th National Assembly, we have equally seen the need, for us to listen to the voices of the Nigerian people. And the Constitutional Review Committee, as a constitutional committee, and in line with the standing orders of both the House of Representatives and the Senate, was duly constituted. And since Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu came on board, he has been able to give a new life, to the Constitutional Review Committee, to ensure that the voices of Nigerians are heard as regards to their proposals in how to lead the country and how we can continue to live together as one nation.
Great. So you make the point for those who call for greater equity and parity. We've had that conversation come particularly from the Southeast region of Nigeria, which currently has the limited states. But I mean, running through the list of 31 states that have come in now, which would take, if approved, if it goes through, will bring the number of states in Nigeria to 67, a whopping 67. When you look at the breakdown, you still see the regions such as the North Central asking for 4, the Northeast 5. You have one region has a particular high number, about 7 of it. It will still leave the Southeast with the least number of states at this rate. But my question really is, has there been a compelling case for this? Is this the priority of the constituents of Nigeria, which you represent? Because most people raise the issue of viability. It's not about equity and parity, really. Are these states going to be viable enough? Are you putting that into consideration as well?
All thanks to our President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is engineering some strategic reforms, to ensure that governance take roots even at the grassroots, from the reform on local government, the reform on equitable distribution of taxes, and so on and so forth. So that brings us back to the issue of parity, fairness, equity, and transparency in how the states were created prior to the 1999 Constitution. Yes, what we have, the 31 proposals that we have for the creation of states today, we are saying 31 proposals because these are the proposals that have met the constitutional threshold as stipulated in the 1999 Constitution for the creation of states. And these thresholds are clearly stipulated in Section 8 of the 1999 Constitution, how these proposals will come and how they will be accommodated and what the Parliament should think of a proper proposal. So today, as not just as the spokesperson of the committee, but as an active player in the National Assembly, yes, there is this strong feeling, by many of our colleagues, particularly in the Constitutional Review Committee, that yes, it's, a region like the Southeast, should be given additional state if not for any reason. And that is why the issue of Etiti State and Orashi State creation are very, very, they're in the front burner of the discussions around the state creation. I also come from Benue State, where the Idoma people have been, said to have been marginalized for a long period of time. And from that region, we have two proposals. Or no, three proposals. The proposal for the creation of Apa State, the proposal for the creation of Apa Ada State, and the proposal for the creation of Ada State. Ada State, by what the framers of that have done, is to take the Idoma people in Nasarawa State, in Cross River, in Enugu, because there is a part of Idoma that was cut into Enugu State, to bring the people together, people who share common identity. That is for the purpose of common identity, for the purpose of equity. Whereas for the Southeast, the people believe that if every other region has 6 states, and they also have the population. So again, it depends on how you push forward these proposals.
It's interesting that you mentioned population.
Yes.
Because the last time we conducted a population census in this country was 2006. Very, very late,
Yes.
later than stipulated for any country in the world. But yet we work on estimated population. And if you mention population, if we are going to do this by population, then what are the numbers we are working with?
You see, without the National Population Commission even giving us a figure today, there are other strategic things that government has done behind the scene that can easily give you the population of the country. And a good example is what the National Identity Management Commission is doing today. With the National Identity Management Commission, you are able to get the exact number of people living in a particular region and where they come from, because these issues are part of the parameters that must be stated when filling the form or when obtaining the NIN. And because NIN has become an important ingredient, in our daily life, you go to the bank, you need an NIN. For you to apply for the international passport, you need an NIN. You need all these things. So there are measures, to check. So unlike in the past where, the National Population Commission, for whatever reason, can declare a certain population for a certain region, they also check and balances, using the bank verification number and a couple of other things. But coming back to the issue of state creation, I think I'll give it to the Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, GSON. Recently, he mentioned the issue of the President supporting the National Population Commission for us to have a proper census for the country. That is very important. And secondly, His Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, has equally, represented the people of the Southeast in a better perspective. Because when you come to Parliament, Parliament is about lobbying, it's about talking to people. So he has moved the Southeast agitation for development from what I call the concept of Nzombu Nzobu, to a concept of come, let us reason together, discussing with the people. So right now, the Southeast people are better positioned. They are reasoning in a different direction. They are interacting with people. Because you can't come to the Parliament and see the issue of state creation as an entitlement. It has to be a question of lobbying.
Two things we need to discuss. Just coming off of talking about the population that these were brought up. If this is to go through, how rigorous will the process be? And what sort of feasibility studies are we going to see? Are we going to have sort of a minimum population per state, balanced urban, rural demographic, economic potential? What sort of processes are we going to see? This is including, obviously, the need for 2/3 majority and the likes.
Yeah, these things are very clear, and already stated clearly in the Constitution that we operate today, the 1999 Constitution as amended. The question of, first and foremost, to get the buy-in of stakeholders to amend the Constitution. So what we are doing as a Parliament, both chambers, is to get the buy-in of critical stakeholders, first and foremost, for Nigerians to believe that the National Assembly can bet the process of a fair, free, and transparent constitutional amendment. And I think to a large extent, we have been able to secure, the confidence of the Nigerian people. We started with timelines, getting stakeholders involved, the judiciary, the labor, everybody involved, to first and foremost buy in and believe that there is a need for us to amend the Constitution. Having achieved this, we are now taking the very important and crucial issues, because in the past, I think the constitutional amendment failed because a couple of people just wanted everything included in a constitution. But we have looked at thematic areas. What are the very serious issues?
What are the serious issues?
One, as a people's parliament, as a people's house, we have allowed the Nigerian people to come on their own to present to us the things that they consider to be the very germane issues for the growth and transformation of this country. And one of it is the issue of state creation. The second issue Nigerians are not even talking about, but we have received a memorandum on, is the issue of local government creation. And I stand here tonight, as a member of the parliament, to tell Nigerians that even the issue of local government creation is a very serious issue, and it is even easier than the creation of states. Because the creation of local government, the constitution requires you to get the state to the state to come together, conduct a referendum, and articulate the number of local governments that they want, and present that to the National Assembly. And the National Assembly will in turn look at it and move for an amendment, and the listing of those local government. So before you know, you have the local government while you are even waiting for the state. And some very pragmatic, people across the country, communities, have taken advantage of that, and they have approached the committee, to look at that.
It's interesting that you say this is a germane issue for the people, because there are critics who say this is another avenue to create jobs for the boys. And let me explain what they mean.
Okay.
The last time we saw any creation of states in Nigeria was under the military, like you rightly said. And it's such a tedious process that we have not seen it happen under the democratic process that we have been practicing uninterrupted. Now, my question is, when they say jobs for the boys, there's been the argument about the expensive democracy that we practice as a country. So they are saying what this would translate to is more state houses of assembly, more appointment by governors. Additional, we're talking about 31 governors, by the way, to make it 67 governors. That's more than we have in the United States. We are by no means any population, land, or size close to the United States. The question is, they say it's not viable. It's more job for the boys. And there are likely to be questions around addressing property demarcation. How do you go about that? Is this have you done a feasibility study? Do you have plans to ensure all of this that the critics are bringing up are addressed? How do you address it? How do you convince Nigerians that this is truly germane and all of these issues will be sorted? It's not just the jobs for the boys.
You see, my background, well rooted in the civil society and where I came from before I joined the parliament, it is very easy to criticize some of these issues. And what is the essence of governance? Governance is about the welfare of the people. So if Nigerians have concluded that state creation will lead to governance getting to the last citizen of this country, then it is not about the boys in quote. It should be about the people, because democracy is about the people. So if state creation, if we all mean it, and we are, as parliamentarians, and I've seen the buy-in of parliamentarians, my colleagues, their commitment, their level of patriotism that many of them have exhibited. Because you see, there's something very different about this constitutional amendment that we're embarking on today. At committee levels, I've seen, members of the committee speaking for other regions of the country. I'm from Benue State. When the issue of state creation was raised in the committee, it will shock you that members of parliament from other parts of the region were the people who were advocating for the creation of state for my people. A good example, like I mentioned earlier, is the way that the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, has been able to present the Southeast agitation. And you saw what happened recently with the creation of the Southeast Development Commission. You don't come to the central table with a mindset, entitlement mentality. you lobby people, you make your case, you discuss with people, you share your pains, your worries with the people. So people buy into your worries. Why do we need a state? We need to reach a larger number of persons in our community, develop our communities to do better for the people, engage more people. So governance or democracy is not about the boys. And secondly, I do not subscribe to the group of people who believe that what the military did in a democracy, we cannot do it. It should be that what the military was able to achieve, democracy should be able to better that.
All right.
We have engineered reforms in INEC, in the banking sector, telecommunication sector, built better infrastructure than the era of the military. So is it not now in a democracy where the people now have the right to speak, to say what they want, that we should be able to amend the constitution and bet to ourselves a better nation?
Time will tell.
This is definitely a conversation that is just beginning a developing story, and we'll have more time at a later date to talk about the viability of these new state proposals. Well, thank you so much, Honorable Philip Agbese, Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, also the spokesperson for Committee on Constitution Review.